the best place to start a Wiccan or witchcraft practice? Hi, I'm Sandra from mysterywitchschool.com, and if you're new to this channel and you want to find out more about Wicca and witchcraft, or you want to be a witch or a Wiccan, hit the subscribe button below so that you don't miss anything. In this video, I'm going to talk about the 3 vital ingredients of any Wiccan practice. It is really about dealing with that question, where do I start and how do I keep going? It's one thing to actually know where to start. And the answer to that simply is, I say, start with a daily practice. Simply start with doing something every day, whether that is just going outside and standing on the earth with bare feet and grounding yourself and connecting with the earth, sitting down, meditating for 10 minutes, invoking the god and goddess, and grounding and connecting with the earth and connecting with the energy around you. That is a place to start. The real questions, though, to ask are the questions before you start. And that's what I want to talk about today. The first thing that you need to look at when you're wanting to start a practice is to know why you're doing it. And the question would simply be, what do I want from my practice? And then just free writing underneath that question. So if you've got a journal, it's a great opportunity to bring your journal out and just write down without editing anything, without checking any spelling mistakes or any grammatical corrections. Just write down why you want to practice. What do you want from your Wiccan practice? And that will bring up some of the surface reasons as to why you want to practice. Then ask yourself again, what do I really, really want from my Wiccan practice? So it's the same question, but because you're saying to yourself, really, really want, you're starting to go deeper into that question. And that will give you a deeper understanding of what you're really wanting from your practice. Because it's hard to know where to start and how to keep going and to keep going and be consistent when you're not in touch with the reason you're doing it in the first place. This is a spiritual practice, and it's to do with a soul calling. You probably have come to this because it feels like home. And getting in touch with the reasons why you're doing it and why you're wanting to study it gets you started. It gets you started internally, it gets you started energetically, and it will get you from going, I don't know where to start, to just going, okay, well, I'm just going to start with meditation because, okay, it's a place to start. So when you've written down those questions and you've answered them, so that you can really gauge what the deep core reason you want to practice is to say to yourself, and even write this out in your journal, if I have all of the money in the world, all of the prosperity in the world, all the love in the world, all the relationships in the world that I want, I have all the success that I want, if I have every material thing and emotional need met in my life, what do I really, really, really want from my witchcraft practice? And that will take you to the core reason you're wanting to practice. A lot of the reason why we want to practice witchcraft and magic is because witchcraft and magic have that practical aspect to them, as well as this more spiritual, deeper aspect. And the practical aspect is that we learn magic and we learn how to influence the environment around us. We learn how to influence circumstances around us so that we can create the life that we want to create. So we don't have to be victims to circumstance, victims to what's going on in the general culture. We have some control over what it is we are living. And magic enables us to be able to control our outer world. So a lot of the reasons that you may write down at the beginning could be simply also, I want to be able to use magic to be able to have that job I want, or to create that business I want, or to have the money I want, or the love I want, and all those things. And it's important to get them out. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you had all of those needs met, would you still be practicing the craft? And it just helps you know where you and what your desire really, really is. And then you know where to start. If you're only interested in witchcraft because you want to do magic, then that's where you start. You go, okay, yep, I'm just interested in the magic. Cool, I know where to start. I'll start learning how to do spellcrafting and learn everything about magic. If you find that you're wanting that deeper connection to nature, to the divine, to your true self, then you'll go, good, okay, I know that I want that. So I want to find ways that I can do that and bring that into my practice. It just gives you somewhere to start. It gives you somewhere to know where to go next. The other thing I wanted to talk about, which is point number 2 to do with this, is the aspect of being consistent with your practice. Because we live very busy lives in Western culture, we often have people and situations and jobs and businesses that are constantly calling for our attention and demanding our attention. And it can be really easy to say, I'm not going to practice today because I don't have time, or I'm too busy, or I don't feel like it. I'd rather sleep in. And that's really detrimental to your practice, because when you're not practicing, you're not learning. When you're not practicing, you're not growing. When you're not practicing, you're not experiencing the connection. So, and if you keep doing that day after day after day, you end up back where you started with, I'm not connected anymore. So to do some reframing around knowing what it is that you're saying to yourself that's stopping you from practicing, and then reframing that into a language that is more positive. So if you're saying, I don't have time to practice today, you could say, even though I'm really busy today, I know that if I spend 5 minutes just meditating, I will feel calmer, I will feel connected, and it will actually help me feel better throughout the day, and the busyness won't be so unsettling. Things like that, where we're talking to yourself and reframing your limiting belief with something that is more realistic and more true, and also something that will help motivate you to continue your practice. So that's point number 2. Point number 3 is creating space for your practice. So this space is your physical space, making sure you have somewhere that you can practice. You may need to go outside of your home to practice. You may need to practice very discreetly. So you may need to just practice in your room. You might not have a lot of space to practice. You might be in a really small confined space. You may even share a dorm or a room with somebody, and it's a bit hard to practice, or you might not be able to practice at all because you need to be secretive about what you're doing. You can find ways to practice in ways that people don't really know that you're practicing. Like meditation, for example. You can be doing so many witchy things where you're just sitting cross-legged with your eyes closed and people just think you're meditating. There's things that you can still be doing, and there's ways that you can practice even when there's other people around, when they don't know that you're practicing. But if you can create physical space in your environment, like even if you have a drawer that you pull out and that's your altar, and then you can push it back in again, no one can see it, just having that space, creating that space. And it's as simple as creating that space energetically around you as well. If you can't really create a space physically for yourself, you can do it energetically by just imagining that there is that beautiful light of energy around you, and that can create an energetic space for you to focus. The emotional space is another space to create when you're doing your practice. So knowing emotionally and mentally that this is the time for practice, and you can allow yourself to feel what you're feeling, honor it, and just allow it to be there. You can allow yourself to get into that sacred space of leaving all of the mundane cares outside of your space and focusing in on what it is that you're doing. So it's creating that mental and emotional space as well. Now, these 3 things I cover in my free PDF, which is called I'll just do a check to see what it's called, The 3 Vital Ingredients to Any Wiccan Practice. And you can download that for free. I've got the link below the video, and you can check that out And it's also a good way to get on my email list if you're wanting to get emails. I also do Facebook Lives once a week, or I try to do them once a week, which are extensions often of the YouTube stuff and some things that I don't do on YouTube. So if you're wanting to download that PDF so that you can go through it, go through the exercises, please go to that link and do that as soon as you can. Otherwise, like the video, share it with your friends. Don't forget to comment and ask any questions. If there's any videos you'd like me to do, any videos about anything to do with witchcraft and Wicca, pop that in the comments field as well. So I will see you on the next video. Blessed be.